You know, many of us get so caught up in the everyday details of our lives that we forget about what the bigger picture is supposed to look like. Hey everybody, it's Ed the Trainer, and we'll talk about that next, right around the corner on this week's Tips on Tuesday. A couple of weekends ago, my daughter and I were looking for something to do on a rainy Saturday afternoon, and she pulled out an older puzzle that neither of us had seen in the house before. She dumped out the box and she put the pieces all over the top of the table, and she started to scatter them around the table and began to look at all of the individual pieces and try to organize them. I watched for a couple of minutes and I realized that she was a little bit over challenged by the sheer number of the pieces on the table overall. And I reminded her of a couple of years ago when we talked about the best way to put puzzles together. We said, first and foremost, you've got to take a piece of that puzzle that has a flat end and start collecting all the flat end pieces and putting them aside. In other words, we've got to build out the frame of the puzzle, right? And then we've got to push all of the other pieces to the other side of the table and then take a look at the box that the puzzle came in. We have to look to see what the picture is that the puzzle's supposed to become after all. And so what you've got to do, she and I started to discuss, is put the frame of the puzzle together and then start working on the interior. And it's easier, once the frame is there, to start to match up all of the colors based on what we know the puzzle should look like from the picture. And it struck me that, you know, in our lives on a daily basis, we're so focused on the individual pieces every single day that we forget about the picture on the box. We forget that in order to achieve the picture on the box, our goals, our dreams, in order to achieve those goals, we actually have to put together the framework of the puzzle in the first place, don't we? Before we get diving in and start working on the interior pieces, we have to know that we've got a process in place to make that happen. You see, our dreams, our visions are reflected by the box on the puzzle overall. In other words, if we don't know what the picture is that we want to achieve, there's no possible way we can make a plan. But once we've painted that picture, once we've got the picture in our vision, at that point, what we can do is begin to frame it out. But a lot of times we skip that step too. And we get so focused on the individual pieces that we're working, because in fact, that's what those interior pieces are, right? That's the amount of work we have to do on a daily basis in order to work the process that is the frame of the puzzle overall. And the better off we are in terms of doing that process inside the framework of the puzzle, the more quickly we'll be able to paint that picture or achieve those goals. But so many of us, again, don't even take the step to look at the box of the puzzle, to look at the picture that's there or created ourselves. And even if we've done that, we don't take the time to make the framework. All we're doing is using the interior pieces and scattering them around, working without any real goal to achieve. This week, let's start to think about what we want our picture box to look like. What do we want those dreams, those goals to be? And then once we've established that and we're committed to it, let's make the frame of the puzzle. We've got to make the frame of the puzzle, the process, be it daily, weekly, monthly. We've got to make that frame before we can even start to mess around with those interior pieces, right? But once we've got all the framework built that will lead us to the picture that we've painted, that's when we can get serious about the work that we do. But to just work without any outcome goals, without any process established, that work doesn't get us anywhere. So let's get somewhere. Let's paint the picture. Let's create the process, and then let's begin to work on that process versus doing it the opposite way. This is the week. There's never going to be a better time than to start now. I really appreciate you spending some time with me this week, everybody. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you soon.